Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Stories about witches have captivated and terrified us for centuries. From a feline familiar vanishing in the night, to the face of a sorceress seen on a gravestone. Capturing evidence of their existence once proved elusive, but not anymore. The modern world is full of cameras and smart technology that have helped investigators and eyewitnesses to record and document a wealth of evidence, which they believe is genuine proof of paranormal activity. We've recruited an army of experts to analyze and scrutinize some of the most jaw-dropping reports from around the world.
Oh, holy...
No.
Is that a person?
Have we finally managed to explain the inexplicable? This is Paranormal Captured. Tonight, we investigate a stately home with a Wiccan reputation.
Oh my God!
And visit the witchcraft capital of Britain.
On Halloween, thousands and thousands of people converge here in the hope they will actually see a Pendle witch.
To help sort real life from the afterlife, we'll turn to our expert panel of psychologists
I would love there to be concrete proof.
and some of the most experienced investigators from the paranormal world.
You want something to be there. The adrenaline's got to be pumping.
I want to separate fact from fiction.
All hoping to bear witness to the paranormal captured on camera.
You're in for a good night.
Stories of witches and their ways exist throughout the world. They have long captured our imagination and led to potent symbols that cross countries and cultures. The image of a woman on a broomstick flying through the air is one such symbol. So when we see something inexplicable in the sky, it's little wonder our thoughts turn to witchcraft. Footage emerged in Mexico in 2018 of a shadowy figure rising towards the heavens, convincing locals that witches still walk and even fly among us.
I love this clip. The way it's moving, it could potentially be more of an unidentified flying object rather than a witch on a broom. I mean, if witches can fly on brooms, then sign me up.
Witches these days would not be flying on a broomstick. It doesn't even look like a witch. To me, it looks very much like a Halloween prank on a drone.
I wouldn't class it as a witch. I can't see a broomstick. I mean, we've all seen The Wizard of Oz, so we know what they look like flying around. And I can't see a cat either, so on that one, I'm out.
In the north of England, one area is renowned for its Wiccan activity. Pendle in Lancashire has been associated with witchcraft for centuries. So much so, it's even reflected in the landscape. Local historian and tour guide Simon Entwistle has had first-hand experience of an icy phenomena which often appears after heavy snow.
You'll see the White Witch of Pendle, and that's the last piece of snow to melt in the perfect shape of a white witch on a broomstick. It could be a freak of nature, but it's happened at least 14 times in the last 20 years.
I love this clip of the White Witch of Pendle. And I don't think it's anything paranormal. Obviously, because of the witchy history, people are naturally going to look for anything associated with witches. I just think it's a natural occurrence, but a really cool one.
You've already got the reputation there with Pendle Hill, the witches, and what we have is really a phenomenon called pareidolia. People are trying to make sense of the shapes that they're seeing on the hillside. For some people, it'll just come naturally.
But other chapters in the history of witchcraft in the UK tell a more sinister story. Centuries ago, women were drowned, hung, or even burnt alive after being accused of black magic. In 1612, the trials of the Pendle witches took place in Lancashire. 12 people were accused of witchcraft.
At this period of time, we've got King James VI of Scotland, who became King James I of England. This man is absolutely paranoid about witchcraft. He not only believed that witches exist, he believed they're actually out to get him. And sadly, that fear and hatred was going to hit the Forest of Pendle with incredible speed in 1612.
The cursed coven were all sent to gruesome deaths by an ambitious local magistrate, keen to curry favour with the king. Legend has it that their vengeful spirits wander the Pendle Hills to this day. Paranormal investigator Danny Moss fell under the spell of this region during a terrifying investigation in 2020. He's been searching for evidence of these enchanted spirits ever since.
Pendle Hill absolutely fascinates me. It's probably the most haunted location I have ever been to.
Whilst filming at nearby Lower Wellhead Farm, Danny captured what he believes may be a ghostly shadow figure on his night vision camera.
You're in that kind of environment, feeling that way, you are primed and ready to see something. So any movement that could be explained as just the shadow of somebody walking by suddenly becomes about something else, something other.
It's definitely the shape of a person. You can see a clear outline. And that's part of the reason I would like to see some other angles, just to throw out anybody accidentally getting in the way of the camera shot.
This is something we've been trying to do for a really long time. This is just a great clip that shows that there is something else out there.
I actually cried because I've been working for a very long time to capture something this concrete. It's what I deem to be the Holy Grail, and it's one of those things that I may never be lucky enough to capture ever again.
Now Danny's returned to the region and has his sights firmly set on another historical building nearby, renowned for paranormal activity.
Salsbury Hall dates back to 1322. It had experienced in its time 3 murders, 1 suicide, a terrible assault on a Catholic priest. Every room has a different story behind it.
Back in 1612, Salsbury Hall became embroiled in a scandal. A daughter of the Southworth family, who lived on the estate, was accused of practicing witchcraft, along with 2 of her friends.
The 3 of them were arrested and sent to Lancaster on a charge of witchcraft and kept in the cell next to the Pendle witches. They were tried the same day by the same jury, the same prosecution. The crimes against them were very, very severe, cursing a little boy and drinking child's blood.
The 3 women became known as the Salsbury Witches. Could their restless spirits be responsible for the hall's notorious reputation?
In terms of ghost sightings, it is probably the Northwest's #1 haunted building. It's a building which I find absolutely fascinating, a storyteller's dream.
Determined to uncover the hall's darkest secrets, Danny is enlisting the help of local historian Jason Carl to show him around.
Wow, I have not been here for a very long time, and it is atmospheric as ever.
The most famous ghost story, perhaps in Lancashire, is that of Lady Dorothy Southworth, a daughter of the Southworth family, who was born sometime in the 16th century. And she is known as the White Lady. Now, her story is one of tragic loss, but the ghost is the most famous in Lancashire. It has been seen many times over hundreds of years.
Along with ghostly apparitions, Salsbury Hall also witnessed the grisly murder of a Catholic priest.
In the 16th century, it was illegal to practice Roman Catholicism. Now, the story has it that the Queen's soldiers seeking priests who were illegally practicing their faith discovered the priest, waited for him to eventually come out through starvation, and killed him brutally in this room. And a blood stain is said to occur on the floor, even though these are not the original floorboards and they have been changed over the years. But people who come in here really don't like the room, and it is known as the most haunted chamber in the whole of Salsbury Hall.
Oh my God, I think I need to do a lone vigil in here tonight.
I think rather you than me.
This location looks incredible. I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly jealous.
My type of location. I'm really excited to see what Danny finds in this investigation.
You know, if it was me, I would be so excited to be able to go to Salsbury Hall. You're going to hear knocks, bangs, spirits, ghouls, and whatever.
Salsbury Hall is a location that I have been interested in for a very, very long time. The stories, the tales of this location are incredible. I really want to bring the technical side to paranormal investigation into this location. This building hasn't been investigated many times. So I really want to bring my methods, which I truly believe work, into this location and see what we can find with that.
As darkness falls and Danny gets started, he heads out under the light of a full moon, in the hopes of capturing a wandering spirit. Perhaps a vengeful Pendle witch.
Well, I thought it would be a good idea to arm a couple of these game cameras which are motion activated. So if anything crosses the beam in front, it will immediately take a set of 3 pictures, and I will review it at the end of the investigation to see if we have captured anything.
Ready for action, who knows what dark magic Danny may face as the night continues. From witches' familiars to bone-chilling cryptids, tales of bizarre creatures have appeared in history books across the globe. Now, with the help of modern technology, it's possible to capture these supposed sightings on film. In Utah, in the USA, a mysterious black creature was seen roaming the desert. It's claimed the beast is a Skinwalker, a malevolent witch with the ability to possess or turn into an animal.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, what we got there?
What the hell is it?
It just looks like a wild cat that you'd expect in those kinds of conditions. It looks like it's living wild and in its natural habitat.
Well, that's not creepy at all. It's like this humanoid figure on the side, and then it gets up and scurries away.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a skinwalker. No one actually knows what a skinwalker really truly looks like. I mean, what you could be looking at is something native to that area, cougar, bobcat, you know, a coyote or anything.
It looked more like an animal than something that would stand upright. But while it was lying there, it looked almost of human shape.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a cryptid, but it's a cryptid. Like, that is unusual. It could very well be something elemental, in a sense, but it definitely looks animalistic to me. I wouldn't want to run into that.
Pendle, in Lancashire, is believed to be one of the most paranormal places in the UK. The site of gruesome executions, it's drawn supernatural enthusiasts for years, searching for proof that witches once roamed these hills. Paranormal enthusiast Ben Nile was well aware of Pendle's malevolent reputation when he visited the site in 2018. He believes the area is rife with supernatural forces.
We started our investigation at nearby Lancaster because that's where the Pendle witches' lives came to an end in quite a horrific way. I wanted to see if I could find any answers to whether this place really is as haunted as people make out to be. So we just came to give it a try, really, to see what we could find.
During their investigation, Ben and his friend Josh managed to capture a strange sound on their spirit box, known as instrumental transcommunication, or ITC.
Can you tell us what happens when we die? Hell.
One of Josh's questions was, what happens to us when we die? And he got a response from what sounded like a very disgruntled gentleman saying hell, which was quite frightening. I think it scared him a little bit because you can see in the footage, it caught him off guard. He did not expect that to come through. So that was quite a direct response to his question, really. That was a very clear message that was probably intentional.
Hell.
You are listening out for some recognition, something that makes sense to the question that you've asked.
If you interpret it as hell, then you're going to stick with that. You'll never get that out of your head. You're in a haunted location, so now you're going to think, if you hear a word, you're going to associate it with something evil, ominous, or whatever.
So what they've got there is audio pareidolia. They've asked a question, they've found the response from random static.
This spirit box response is pretty clear. It's a full word. It kind of does sound like a bit of a disgruntled gentleman, as he mentions. So yeah, that's a great response. A, it's really sad, and B, yeah, that would terrify you in that moment.
Whether it means that hell is a real place or hell is being stuck still on Earth, I don't really know.
Just 40 minutes down the road from Pendle is Salsbury Hall, the former home of one of the women accused of witchcraft during the infamous Pendle trials. Given its reputation as a hotspot for the supernatural, Danny has come here to see if he can capture evidence of the Wiccan residents once and for all. As night falls over this haunted hall, Danny starts his investigation in the eerily empty long gallery using a laser grid.
Okay, so we've just armed the laser grid, which is a fascinating experiment designed to capture shadow figures, which this location is renowned for. The entire back area of that wall is now cased in the laser lights, and we are essentially looking out for anything breaking across the grid of lights there.
He attempts to draw out the White Lady and the Salsbury witches with some probing questions.
I want to know if the stories are true. The ghosts, spirits, walk these hallways. Did witchcraft take place here?
And almost immediately, Danny sees something at the edge of his vision.
I swear something has just blocked out the lights on the right-hand side through that doorway which leads above the chapel. Hello? Almost like a figure had just swept across. I'm trying to stay rational and think, you know, as my mind playing tricks on me there, have my eyes deceived me, but that was a definite movement. I just clocked it through that doorway. If I am not welcome here, then you will have to make me leave this building. was like a weird scratchy. Hello? That was really, really weird.
The fact that he is seeing a shadow figure, that's great. And then to have that followed by hearing an audible noise, there is some sort of activity that's starting. And this is just the beginning of his investigation.
We've got a lot of natural psychology at play, peripheral vision phenomena going on, and then the sudden sound as well. Wood expanding and contracting with the building, doors left ajar, a number of things could be going on.
Laser grid, if you watch it too long, it does make you kind of see things batty because the lights feel like they're moving around and stuff. Same thing with the noises. We could hear the noises, but it's an old house. I'm intrigued that things are happening already, but I'm still questioning whether or not it's truly paranormal at this point.
There is a definite change in the atmosphere in this house. I can feel it right now. Now, I'm not one for being a sensitive. I don't feel things, but I'm definitely picking up on a strong atmospheric change in this house. Things are starting to get a little weird in here, and I think things are starting to get interesting.
The night is yet young, but could it be that something wicked this way comes?
Get me out of this room!
Since time immemorial, people behaving strangely have been all too easily accused of malevolent intent. In Saudi Arabia, the occupants of a police patrol car recorded their strong reaction to a figure walking in the night on their dashcam. Were they jumping to conclusions, or did they have real cause for fear?
Oh yeah. Wow, that does look very, very, very scary.
If I came across that late at night in an area that looks very isolated, I'd be freaked out big time. But to me, it almost looks like they're trying to recreate a scene from a movie, but it would freak me out.
This definitely looks like a prank to me. It doesn't look paranormal at all. But if I was driving down a road that creepy and saw that walk out in front of me, I'd be reversing that quickly too.
I mean, even I'd be a little bit weary if I see that coming towards me. I'd have to, in fact, I wouldn't reverse, I'd run it over. In all seriousness, it's not real.
In Pendle, in the United Kingdom, the dark history of the 1612 trials has convinced locals and outsiders that vengeful spirits still linger in this isolated area.
The Pendle Witch is described using what's called a clay picture. A clay picture is basically a doll made of clay. They admit to taking human teeth from Newchurch Cemetery and human hair and making a voodoo doll, if you will.
In 2015, medium and psychic Christine Hamlet snapped a picture in the cemetery of a small church. Could she have captured an image of an unhappy spirit, trapped in clay by a Pendle witch?
Oh, I do love a graveyard.
It's really easy for anybody to look at that initially and go, oh, I see a face, I see a face, I see a body. Then you start looking at it closer and you realize it's just the way the stone is behind it.
I personally would just put that down to an effect of decay on the stone over the years, where bits of it have just come away and it just looks sort of witchy-like.
Our brains, when they can't make sense of something, will look for shapes in order to make sense of them. Then if you add a story being told, conflate those two things together, suddenly you start seeing an image that the historian has beautifully illustrated for you.
That's a debunk.
Over in Salsbury Hall, paranormal investigator Danny Moss is on a witch hunt of his own, having spotted an unexplained light anomaly in the long gallery.
I literally just saw the laser grid lights block out right above the chapel.
Now he's moving into one of the hall's many eerie bedrooms, said to be a stalking ground for the White Lady. 17th century England was a time of religious conflict. Legend has it that Lady Dorothy Southworth, a descendant of the Salsbury witches, paid a heavy price when she fell in love with a Protestant knight from a nearby estate.
The Southworth family here at Salsbury Hall were staunchly Catholic, so therefore a union was not allowed. So what they used to do was meet secretly between the two houses. Dorothy was punished by her father for this entire episode by being sent to a convent in France, where she allegedly died of a broken heart. Now here's where the story gets a bit more confusing, because some accounts say that actually she didn't get sent to France, and in fact she threw herself out a window here at the Hall, committing suicide. Which story is true? Well, the answer is that maybe neither of them, because there are no records of Lady Dorothy Southworth.
Eager to explore this intriguing legend, Danny sets up a paranormal Puck 2 device in one of the hall's many bedrooms.
Now, I'm going to place this puck right in front of me here, and if anything changes in the atmosphere around it, I will be able to read it on the software device. It's possible to gain intelligent words when this senses atmospheric changes.
Tiny sensors in the puck measure everything from room temperature to ionization levels in the atmosphere, recording any changes and sending the data to Danny's tablet.
There's definitely an atmospheric change here. It feels lighter, although I do feel very vulnerable having my back to that doorway where I've literally just heard a noise. Can you come and talk to me? Can you tell me about this great house? Okay, that's really, really weird. There's just been a huge spike in the static energy around the puck device. Suddenly a huge spike.
With the energy in the room changing, Danny decides to try and draw out the spirit of Lady Dorothy with some exploratory questions.
I truly feel like I'm in a haunted house. And I know that sounds very cliche, but it really does feel like that. I'm now going to try and address Lady Dorothy Southworth. Lady Southworth, what happened in this house? I swear I've just heard another noise coming from out there. Is this you? Are you coming towards this room? Lady Dorothy Southworth, tell me, what happened in this house? The word tense has just come through. The word tense has just come through.
As the atmosphere in the bedroom becomes more strained, Danny decides to push his questioning further.
Can you tell me, please, what do you mean by the word tense? Lady Dorothy Southworth, is this you? Are you trying to communicate with me? In order for me to understand what you are saying, I need you to step directly in front of me right now and speak to me. Let me hear your voice. Let me see you. Okay, the word Bible has just come through. It's a Catholic house. The word Bible has just come through.
Talk about relevant. Kind of makes me wonder who he's communicating with.
If you're in that environment, you believe in the technology, you're playing along, I'm sure it feels and sounds great, and Bible and other words coming through in relation to the building, well, great, but it's not really telling us anything.
Obviously, it feeds into the narrative of the location where you are, building up into some sort of crescendo, and you're gonna believe it as it's happening with these devices, you know, sometimes the word sausage appears and everyone's like, sausage?
I've heard no other noises. It seems to have gone very, very quiet in the house right now.
As the atmosphere calms, Danny decides to take advantage of this lull in proceedings to head out into the grounds to check on his game cameras.
It is so spooky out here. There's no cars, there's no people. Okay. Okay, this is game camera number 2. Knock this off record. Very shortly, I'm going to head back to the house to see if anything has been captured on these. It's really, really eerie out here. I always feel vulnerable in wooded areas. In the grounds of a haunted house, you feel even more vulnerable.
Feeling spooked by the ghostly atmosphere in the grounds, Danny heads back inside to review the footage on his cameras.
What is that? Okay, we seem to have picked up something quite strange in the second picture. I'm really not sure what this is, to be honest with you. This is captured, you can quite clearly see the light in the car park at the rear of the building. But round the branch area, there is a mist-like anomaly, which I'm not sure what that is.
It could very well be that there was some moisture in the air when that particular photo was taken, so that it is the light reflecting off the moisture around that branch, creating that halo effect.
I love that Danny used wildlife cameras. That first picture, it's almost like something coming across a dark shadow that covers the branch, and then in the next one, you see the mist. So was it a small bird that just happened to go across it and then get too close to the camera? Or is it something paranormal? Hard to say, but I thought it was very interesting. And question, got a big question mark on it.
The devil may be in the detail when it comes to proving the paranormal. But can Danny capture definitive evidence of sorcery at Salsbury before the night is out? For hundreds of years, black cats have been associated with witchcraft. Many believe they act as familiars, helping witches to carry out their nefarious deeds. And to this day, many still consider them unlucky. In America's Lone Star State, doorbell surveillance footage captured what appears to be a mysterious black cat vanishing on camera. Could this actually be a witch's familiar playing a game of cat and mouse?
I love this clip purely because of this could be a witch's familiar. However, I don't think it's paranormal. I think that the type of camera that they're using as their security camera maybe has a really slow frame rate.
The camera's a bit slower than most cameras we expect, frame, frame, frame. So when the cat speeds up, it struggles to keep up with filming that motion, but we still get glimpses of it going out to the right. It doesn't disappear, it's there for the entire shot.
The camera can't focus on the cat and doesn't see it anymore. It can't tell the difference between the dark pavement and the dark cat.
Over at Salsbury Hall, after a faith-inspiring session in the bedroom,
Okay, the word Bible has just come through.
and a shadowy shape in the long gallery,
That was a definite movement through that doorway.
Danny is keen to find proof that this historic building is harboring spirits from the past. He decides to conduct a lone vigil in the atmospheric priest room, using a piece of technology he's developed for paranormal investigations.
The Intravox device blasts out many different frequencies of white noise into the atmosphere. Now, I'm a huge believer that white noise can trigger paranormal activity.
The priest room is said to be where a man of the cloth was brutally murdered centuries ago.
Now, at this point, I think it would be beneficial if you crew guys left me in here on my own. All right, let's do it. Okay, so right now I am alone in the priest room. The crew have moved downstairs, so I'm completely alone up here. I just want to take a moment in this room where I absorb the atmosphere. There is a creepy mannequin right next to me, which is freaking me out big time. I just feel like its head's gonna lift up and look at me. Is that correct? I want to invite you into this room to talk to me. Oh my God, that's dead word. Now, this is a drafty room, I admit, but I've just had a really severe cold blast of air just move across my hand. Okay guys, I'm gonna arm the Intravox device. Enter this room. Can you tell me what happened here? Was a man murdered here in this room? Priest, are you here? Do you remain here in this house? If so, tell me. Do you have a name? Oh my God, a man's voice just come through and I swear to God it said no. Hello? Who are you, please? The man who just spoke, is that the priest? Residents of this house, address me, please. Was it you I saw earlier? Was it your shadow I saw? Oh my God, what the hell was that? That was like a woman's voice. Madam, who are you?
There's definitely something there.
God, it is so atmospheric in this room. I cannot describe how atmospheric it is. Oh my God! Clear man's voice, please. Holy priest, is this you? What happened in this house? Please tell me clearly. Oh my God! The devil! I just said the devil!
The devil?
Get me out of this room! I've just said what happened in this house and it's just come through and clearly said the devil.
If I had a response that clear come through during my lone vigil saying the devil, yeah, that would have caught me off guard, especially with the creepy mannequin next to him. That's just a big no in my books.
That was really awesome. Good catch. And I love seeing Danny rattled.
Now he's set, his brain is going to be wired for the rest of the night, because I've had that happen to me on some of my investigations, and it does, you know, get you set for the night.
Something dark happened here, didn't it? Something bad happened here. Tell me what it is. Did that say out? That's it, I've had enough in this room. I want the crew here. I want to get the hell out of this room right now because I am absolutely freaked out to the maximum.
Yeah, I don't blame Danny for being like, get me the hell out of here now. That was a really creepy response.
Great capture, great find. I'd love to be there myself and do it with you, Dan. It's like a hub of paranormal activity.
He's alone, it's pitch dark, he's with his equipment, he's in a heightened state, and he's also telling us the story, so he's in charge of the narrative. So whatever he's hearing or feeling, there's no one else to sort of say, I didn't hear anything, or I didn't hear the word the devil, I didn't see anything.
If he doesn't get anything else all night on this investigation, that alone was amazing. It was totally worth it just for the priest's room.
I have just had one of the most incredible sessions I've ever had during my time as a paranormal investigator. I've actually had to come downstairs now to you guys because I was so freaked out up there.
From religious persecution and star-crossed lovers to devil worship and witchcraft, Salsbury Hall's checkered past has certainly lived up to Danny's expectations. Could his action-packed investigation, which included strange noises,
Man's voice just come through and I swear to God it said no.
possible shadow figures, and a mysterious mist have tapped into the paranormal power of the Pendle region, playing out across the centuries?
Tonight's investigation of Salsbury Hall has been one of the most bizarre investigations I've ever conducted during my career. The priest room absolutely blew my mind, and that is one of the most active sessions I've ever had.
Oh my God!
Danny took loads away from that investigation for himself. And to watch that back, I could see he was excited and intrigued. That's an example of how beliefs, prior expectation can play on you when you're inside a certain location.
Salsbury Hall looks like a really great location. You can just tell that it's completely steeped in history.
A lot of the religious theme came through, and I think that was fascinating, knowing it was a Catholic household.
Danny has found enough evidence for me to want to go there myself and to investigate Salsbury Hall.
I do believe something sinister may have occurred in this location at some point in its vast history. Was it witchcraft? We don't know.
Under the powerful gaze of the full moon, Salsbury Hall's supernatural reputation remains intact, and this entire region still casts a bewitching spell. The search for irrefutable evidence of the paranormal must be pursued. But is it all just hocus pocus? The witch hunt continues.
Get me out of this room!